you why no one steals from Mad Guts. Okay. Mad Guts gestured towards his henchman Gumball, who always did his talking for him. Mad Guts is interested to hear, Bertha, sneered Gumball. Well, while everybody gave a horrified gasp and tried not to breathe in too deeply, that you feel that there are some people who would be unwise to nick things from, because he would have thought he would have been one of those people. I love that picture of Bertha looking a little depressed. Oh, you are, my Guts, you are, Bertha assured him, keeping a sharp eye on that sword. Now, Big Booby Bertha was a frightening woman whose gigantic breasts and super strong sword arm were the terror of the archipelago. However, even those boobies knew when they were beaten, and they drooped in a depressed way as Bertha, tough but not all that bright, searched for a convincing explanation as to what exactly she was doing with Mad Guts' stealth dragon. Gumball carried on. Anybody who steals from Mad Guts has the most unpleasant fate of being taken to the unlified slave lands or sacrificed to sky dragons, depending on whether Mad Guts is in a merciful mood. What are you doing with Mad Guts' stealth dragon, Big Booby Bertha? Bertha had been trying to stand between Mad Guts and the stealth dragon in the pathetic hope that Mad Guts would not notice it, but on seeing its master, the stealth dragon had leapt to its feet and slunk to Mad Guts' side. "Sit!" barked Gumball, and the stealth dragon instantly sat. "You see," whispered Toothless in the Stormfly's ear, "he's a real goody-goody." "He is, isn't he?" replied Stormfly disapprovingly. She sighed. "And he's working for a real baddie. A very stinky baddie. At that, can't think what I saw in him." "Well, Bertha," said Gumball as Mad Guts toyed with his axe, "what is your answer?" There was a nasty silence. Hiccup gave a tactful cough. "Chief Murderess, sir," he said politely, "I think you might be making a little mistake here." Mad Guts the Murderess frowned thunderously. "Very understandable, I'm sure," said Hiccup hurriedly, "but this is not what it looks like. Me and my friends have just been stealing a book from the Meathead Public Library, and the person who chased us on the back of this stealth dragon, and who must have stolen it in the first place, was not Biggie Booby Bertha, but the hairy, scary librarian." Hiccup pointed to the prone and squashed figure of the hairy, scary librarian. He was still alive, but gently slumbering in the heather. Big Booby Bertha was in the middle of arresting him when you arrived. "Brilliant," whispered Kamikaze under her breath. "That's brilliant, for a boy, of course." The hairy, scary librarian would have hotly denied this charge, but the hairy, scary librarian was in no condition to deny anything as he thundered peacefully on, out for the count. Slumbered peacefully on. "In fact," continued Hiccup, "you should really be thanking Big Booby Bertha here, because the moment she clapped eyes on the creature, she knew that such a splendid secret weapon could only belong to a magnificent murderous chieftain such as yourself, sir, which is why she squished him. Isn't that right, Bertha?" Yes," said Big Booby Bertha hurriedly. "That's absolutely right." Everybody held their breath as Mad Guts the Murderess looked from Hiccup to Big Booby Bertha to the slumbering librarian from out of his mean blue eyes, as cold and cruel as the ocean itself. He chewed thoughtfully on his knucklebone for a minute or two, and then he advanced towards Bertha with his terrifying sword gleaming in his hand. Bertha raised her head bravely, for a Bug Bertha laughs in the face of death, and looked Mad Guts straight in the eye. She waited for the final blow, and to her astonishment, Mad Guts gave her the sword. And then Mad Guts leaned over, spat in the heather, and motioned to his henchman. He grunted something in the Gumball's ear, and then without a word he climbed up onto the stealth dragon's back, and the beautiful creature sprang into the air, turning in an instant from as green as the heather up to as blue as the sky, and was gone. Mad Guts gave you his sword in thanks for your services in capturing the fool who tried to steal his stealth dragon. Okay, so if they hadn't come and squashed that hairy, scary librarian flat, yeah, Bertha would have been in big trouble. So Mad Guts, he seems to believe your story. I don't mind you, but Mad Guts is the boss. "God!" screamed the Gumboil, removing the heart slices from the librarian's sword belt and adding them to his own. "Take this dozy librarian off to the Anglithag slave lands." The guards snapped to attention, and one of their dragons took the limp body of the unconscious librarian in between its claws and flew off with it towards the west. The hairy, scary librarian would wake up many hours later, deep in the heart of the ugly thug slave lands, rather thinner than he was before, and with a thumping headache, and his temper would not be improved once he realised where he was. Lest there are any soft-hearted readers out there who are worrying about his unjust fate, I should remind you that he was a singularly unpleasant character who had dispatched many an unfortunate warrior up to Valhalla with his heart slicers for no greater crime than attempting to burgle a book from the library in order to impress their fellow tribesmen. So I wouldn't feel too sorry for him if I were you. The gumboil spat on the ground in as disgusting a way as his master. He didn't seem too sorry for the librarian. "Serve him right for falling asleep," he said with a sneering grin like a malevolent toad. Unfortunate for him that Magguts was in a merciful mood. "I'll be looking out for you too, Bertha," he warned the big booby one. "I wouldn't do any more burgling from the murderous tribe. The next time you do it, you may not be so lucky." And with that, the murderous warriors climbed up onto the backs of their riding dragons, leaving behind them a faint, sulphurous whiff of haddock and bad